Hey guys, what is up and welcome to a new NVIDIA update video. So today, as per usual, let's go over NVIDIA stock. Let's talk about what is happening with NVIDIA stock, what I personally foresee moving forward, and all of that good stuff as per usual. So ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit that like button. It does help a lot. This is not financial advice, and I am not a financial advisor. And my membership session, of course, though, is down below. If you're interested, for just $2.99 a month, you get access to all my thoughts on the day, technical analysis, options flow, all that kind of stuff. I post that every single day on Tesla and just the broader market as a whole, every single day for $3 a month. Or if you're interested in the NVIDIA updates as well, on top of that, for $5 a month, you get access to all that, plus daily NVIDIA updates as well. So definitely check it out. The link is below for the YouTube membership. But jumping into it, NVIDIA, unfortunately, down about 4% on the day, which is roughly in line with the market, we'll say. Maybe slightly outperforming the market, arguably. But yeah, down about 4% today, unfortunately, closing at just shy of $103 per share. So let's talk about what this means moving forward. So let's go to the 1 hour chart first very quickly. The 1 hour chart, well, like I said yesterday, we are in essentially this bear flag, where we're at the bear flag right below resistance. And I mean, I was saying how, it's not looking very good, right? It's not looking too hot right now for the bulls, right? If we're breaking below certain levels that should not be broken below and we're standing up a bear flag, the odds are just not in the bulls' favor. It is what it is. And today, obviously, with the massive market flush, well, NVIDIA, of course, did flush it with the market as well. Unfortunately, I don't know if the pain is over just yet. Now I'll explain why, right? Let's go to the daily chart. This is where things are really important, right? So, like I said many times, my main target for NVIDIA is about 100 to like 97-ish to $100 per share, like somewhere around there, right? Because that is where it'll retest this green trend line, which every single time we've come to it has shown a pretty sizable bounce, right? Obviously, this time can be different. Maybe we just flush down below it. That is a possibility. But in terms of just a risk versus reward, as close to this green trend line and pretty much $97-ish as you can get it, or 96 even better, the better, really. It's just that simple. The better it is, right? So that's just kind of what I'll be looking for. And I honestly still think it's a very real possibility of a target. Why? Well, because the market closed very, very weak, right? The market closed at pretty much the lows of the day. NVIDIA did get a little bit of a bounce, so it's not as bad as the market, but it's not, I don't know if it's enough. I really don't think it's enough. I think it's definitely a little bit concerning still, right? Because also to keep in mind, we're still having lower lows on the MACD. RSI is still making lower lows, right? Stochastic is starting to curl a little bit. So, I can't go that much lower, but it is starting to show signs of curling, but, obviously no crossover to the bullish side yet, right? The BX trender is still making lower lows. It still looks bearish. Like, this is a falling knife. Like, it is what it is. Maybe you'll buy at the bottom. Maybe you'll catch the knife, and maybe you'll luckily snipe the bottom. Always a possibility. But again, that strategy will not work in the long run, right? Maybe you'll get lucky a few times, but I promise you it will not work if you just keep thinking that that's the way to do it. Unless you buy it at major support. Unfortunately, I also just don't think we're there just yet. I think major support is below $100 per share, about $100 to about $96, $97 per share. That's where I think major support is. And that's where I'll be looking for personally, right? It is what it is, right? That's just what I'm looking for personally. We've been talking about how NVIDIA is just kind of looking bearish in general, right? This massive aggressive sell-off after the earnings, right? Why? Well, because we broke below the 21 EMA. We said how before NVIDIA seems to respect the 21 EMA indicator pretty damn decently, and so far that's obviously holding to be true, right? We said how NVIDIA, back when it was rising, we were saying it was bullish, right? Because it was bullish, and then we consolidated, earnings had us drop, and we were talking about how all these indicators started flipping bearish. Well, that bearish sell-off obviously happened, right? And again, unfortunately, I'm still not seeing any signs of a bottom here based on these indicators that I personally use and I personally like and rely on, if you will. So unfortunately, I still think, moving a bit lower to about $100 to $97-ish per share, I still think it's a possibility. Now, let's say it's not. Let's say we do somehow actually get a bottom from here. Let's say we do somehow rally from here. Always a possibility. I don't think nothing is guaranteed. There is a possibility that happens. Well, let's say it does happen. What can it look like, right? And what is there to expect? Well, if we do, let's say, rally from here, let's say NVIDIA does actually bounce from here, which is a possibility. The first level I'll be looking for is about $104 to $105 per share, right? This will be pretty much a retest of this bear flag breakdown, and that's what I'll be looking for. If NVIDIA can reclaim that general range, great. Then the next level is pretty much where we just got rejected a couple days ago, pretty much about $107 to about $110 per share, but the main level is about 110. Breaking above that, we'll see the NVIDIA most likely continue back upwards to about $117 to $120 per share, like I've been saying every single time. And so far, we're just consistently keep getting rejected and going lower and lower and lower. At some point, that of course will end. It's just a matter of where will that end, right? Well, those are the main aspects I'll be looking for moving forward on NVIDIA stock to really try to find the quote unquote bottom on the stock. And that's just how I'm looking at it moving forward. Now, the 1 hour is showing a little bit of promising signs, right? For instance, the MACD has flipped bullish, which is good. The stochastic has flipped bullish, which is good. Just, will this just be a potential small little pump back up to, 104, 105, and that's about all we get, and then we go even lower? So for instance, something like this, right? Possibly, right? That is a possibility for sure. So we'll have to kind of just see how it goes, right? We'll have to see how it goes. But again, I'll always say my honest thoughts. As of right now, it is a falling knife. Just there's no other way to put it. It's a falling knife. It is what it is, right? If you've been trying to catch the bottom during this whole drop right here, well, you're probably down, right? You're probably not very happy with the stock's performance right now, right? That's because you're just trying to catch the bottom, unless you have good stop losses. For instance, buying, for instance, this candle over here could have been very risky, but it's a high risk or a low risk, high reward scenario because 107 is support. You could have bought that, and you actually could have made a little bit of money if you sold it, or if you had a nice little quick stop loss not too far below that, and you would have avoided a lot of this continued pain, right? That's why if you're trying to like catch the bottom, in my opinion, just my thoughts, it's always good to have good mental stop losses, because once certain levels get breached, that usually means continuation in that respective direction. That's just how things work in the stock market. Let's take a quick look at the weekly chart, right? The weekly chart, of course, the weekly candle rather has officially ended. So let's take a look at this, right? This is going to look pretty similar to what we just talked about, right? Where we have this trend that every single time we've came to this trend line, we've seen a pretty respectable bounce, and this is pretty much the exact same as the daily chart, right? So right now, pretty much the way you want to look at NVIDIA is, well, we're pretty much congesting within this area. Honestly, I'd be pretty surprised if NVIDIA doesn't find a bounce around $100 per share to $97 per share. Obviously, there's a chance it doesn't. The MACD or the stochastic has actually just flipped bearish on the week, which isn't good. That's not something I like to see because, again, I put a lot of weight into the stochastic. It's pretty important to me, at least this specific one that I use. So the momentum clearly is not very great here, but just strictly off of levels and horizontal levels and trend lines and whatnot, as of right now, I'd be a little bit surprised if, again, if we come down to $100 to $97 per share, if it does not act as a support, a pretty powerful support. I do think that's a possibility. For instance, what NVIDIA can do is maybe you can do something like this, make its way back down to about that general range, right? And then make its way back up to about 108-ish dollars per share. And then we'll see from there. Maybe it continues back upwards and it goes like this and it breaks out. That's a possibility. That's kind of like the bullish scenario. Or it comes down, it comes back up, and then ultimately comes back down again and finally breaks through. That's the bearish scenario, right? But as of right now, that's roughly what I foresee happening. We'll just, of course, just, let it be. Let the chart dictate for us. No reason to predict, no reason to think we're smarter than the market. Let the price decide for us. And I'll be looking to buy at support if it ever gets there. And if it doesn't, all good, no worries, right? No FOMO is allowed, right? It is what it is, right? You look for the best entry, and if you get it, great. If you don't, it is what it is. There's a million other charts. But yeah, anyway, that's just kind of how I'm looking at it. I'm moving forward, ladies and gentlemen, right? In terms of options flow, NVIDIA, nowhere to, actually, no, it's right here, never mind, sorry. 27 million confirmed bullish flow, which isn't too bad. It's not too high for an NVIDIA, in my opinion. NVIDIA can definitely see much higher than that, but it's not. Sorry, my mic is just kind of breaking loose here. But it's not the worst thing. I'll do it after. But it's not the worst thing for NVIDIA either, right? But unfortunately, the thing that's making me concerned is the fact that the market is pretty much closing at the lows of the day, still not showing any signs of a bounce on my technicals over here, which unfortunately can put pressure on NVIDIA, which can bring it down to about that $100-ish per share as early as Monday, potentially. So we'll see. But I'll definitely be eyeballing it pretty aggressively around those levels if we get there. But yeah, all that being said and done, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit that like button, and I'll see you for the next one. Peace.